Hello guys, good day. Welcome to another video lecture in ACP 311, Accounting for Special Transactions. This video lecture is focused on the continuation of our discussion in partnership liquidation. But this time, we will be emphasizing the accounting procedures in partnership liquidation on an installment basis. But in this installment liquidation, this will also be divided into two parts. So first part, the emphasis of our discussion for this video lecture will be the basic concepts on installment liquidation and schedule of safe payments, while the second part, which will be the focus of our next video lecture, will be on the discussion of cash priority program or cash distribution program. Okay, to start with our lecture in this video, let us reiterate the concept first of a liquidation. So when we talk about liquidation, it is the winding up of business affairs, may it be of a partnership or any other business organization. But but for the purpose of this discussion, we will consider that the liquidation is on a partnership. So when there is liquidation, all of the assets are to be sold, and all the proceeds, all the cash from that realization will be used to settle all its liabilities. So in our previous video lecture, we were able to discuss lump sum liquidation. So again, as a sort of review, when we talk about lump sum liquidation, all of the non-cash assets of the partnership are realized on a one-time setting. But this time, since we are discussing installment liquidation, all of the non-cash assets will not be sold on a one-time setting, meaning the non-cash assets will be sold on a staggered basis or on a piecemeal liquidation basis. So we have here, when the company ended up in liquidation, sometimes it is not possible to realize their assets in one time. Sometimes it may take several months to convert non-cash assets to cash. So that is why partnership liquidation by installment may exist. So again, as the text has suggested, that not at all times our assets or our non-cash assets can be realized on a one-time setting. Therefore, if such circumstance will occur where all of our non-cash assets cannot be realized on a one-time setting, so we can really have our partnership to be liquidated on an installment basis. So that means all of the non-cash assets may be realized on few months, not just on on a single day. So, in installment liquidation, we have procedures also to follow. So, the following are the procedures that we are to observe in liquidating a partnership under installment basis. So, first, record the realization of assets and distribute the realized gains or losses among the partners using the profit or loss ratio. So, again, just like with our lump sum liquidation, any profit, any loss or gain on the realization of the non-cash assets are to be distributed still to our partners using their profit and loss ratio. So kung naay loss or gain sa pagbaligya sa mga non-cash assets, it will still be distributed to the partners using their profit and loss ratio. Parehas dito as sa um, lump sum liquidation. Second step, pay liquidation expenses and unrecorded liabilities if there are any, and distribute these among the partners using their profit and loss ratio. And then, pay the liabilities to outsiders. And lastly, distribute cash to the partners after possible future losses have been apportioned to partners or in accordance with a cash distribution program. Okay, what makes liquidation in installment different from liquidation on a lump sum basis? So this time, in installment liquidation, you will have future or possible future losses. So these possible future losses, they might these might come from the non-cash assets which were not able to be sold for a particular liquidation activity. And again, we also have here in installment liquidation the presence of cash distribution program. This is a tool in order to determine who will be given equitably the available cash of the partnership. So this cash distribution program will be used in determining who will receive the current available cash of the partnership. Okay, so these are the procedures in installment liquidation. So the chronological order of activities are somehow just the same with lump sum liquidation, but except for um, the presence of possible future losses and cash distribution program, diri kay installment liquidation. So we have here your safe payment computations. So as what I have mentioned earlier, we are required to compute for safe payments because again, we need to equitably distribute the available cash to the partners. So in installment liquidation, cash distributions to the partners are authorized even before all the losses that may be incurred and charged against the partners are known. Considerable care is therefore required to ensure an equitable distribution of cash to the partners. The statement of partnership liquidation is usually supported by a schedule of safe installment payments to partners, or what we call schedule of safe payments. So as what I have mentioned earlier, this schedule of safe payments will be the basis of the partnership on who will be receiving the available cash of the partnership. So we have here um, further explanation about cash safe or safe payment computations or cash distribution payment. So cash is distributed to a partner only if he has an excess credit balance in his partnership interest after absorption of his share of the maximum possible loss that may occur. So the possible losses consist of the following. So in computing for the cash safe payment, we have the presence of possible losses, which I have mentioned earlier. But what are the sources of these possible losses? So the possible losses may come from total value of remaining non-cash assets. These assets are assumed unrealizable. Hence, they are considered loss chargeable to the partners. So again, here in installment liquidation, not all assets are realized in one-time setting. For example, you have a non-cash assets of 100,000, but these 100,000 were realized for 3 months. For example, 50,000 was realized on the first month, 30,000 is realized on the second month, and 20,000 is realized pa on the third month. So therefore, for example, on the first month of the liquidation, ang imuha lang na realize is only 50,000, giving you a remaining non-cash asset which are not yet realized for 50,000. So for the first month, ang unrealized asset nga 50,000 will be considered as possible loss already. So it can be considered as possible loss. And that possible loss will be distributed to the partners using their profit and loss ratio. Another possible source of loss or possible loss is the cash withheld to pay for anticipated liquidation expenses and unrecorded liabilities that may arise. So the said expenses and liabilities represent possible loss to the partners because upon their payment, the amount paid is to be correspondingly absorbed by the partners. So cash withheld or to pay for anticipated liquidation expenses, or in short, those cash which are intended to pay liquidation expenses are also considered as possible loss. It will also be deducted to the partner's capital. And detailed discussion about withheld cash for liquidation expenses will be discussed in our next uh, video lecture. So you have here further explanation. Additional loss may also accrue to the partners when a debit balance in any of the capital accounts result from the foregoing allocation of possible loss. So the deficiency of any of the partner is absorbed by the other partners as additional possible loss to them because he is presumed unable to pay anything to the firm. So this is the second assumption in installment liquidation or in preparing cash safe payment. So earlier, ang first nato na assumption in preparing cash safe payment is first, all of the unrealized assets all of the unrealized asset will be considered as possible loss. And then second, all of the partners are presumed to not be able to pay anything to the firm. So any capital deficiency in any of the partners is assumed na dili na mabayaran sa mga partners. So therefore, if there are capital deficiency in the partnership, it is assumed that it is absorbed by the remaining partners which has a positive capital balances, but only in the preparation of cash safe payment. Another, payment to partners based on periodic computation of safe payments bring at some point liquidation the partner's capitals to profit and loss ratio. The absence of any partner's deficiency after distribution of the possible loss signifies that the ratio of the capital balances are in profit and loss ratio. The preparation of schedule of safe payments in subsequent periods are no longer necessary because all subsequent payment can be made based solely on the profit and loss ratio. So each partner's capital is adequate to absorb his share of the maximum remaining possible loss. To appreciate the concepts on safe payment computations, let's use this into an illustration. So we have here X, Y, and Z partners sharing profits and losses equally, decided to liquidate their partnership prior to liquidation. So the partnership statement of financial position on June 30, 2018 is presented as follows. So here, the usual balance sheet of the partnership. So we have cash and other assets and their liabilities and their respective capital balances. And since it is installment liquidation, their total assets of or their total non-cash assets of 115,000 were realized daw after 3 months pa. So 80,000 of its non-cash assets were realized on July, 42,000 of it were realized on August, and 33,000 were assumed to be realized pa on September with their respective amount of realization. So on July, the book value of non-cash assets with book value of 80,000 were realized for 65,000, giving a partnership loss of 15,000. And then and so on and so forth for August and September. So let us prepare statement of liquidation for the month of July. So this will be the picture of the statement of liquidation for the month of July upon liquidation of XYZ partnership. So again, just like the previous preparation of statement liquidation, it will always emanate with the capital balances or the balances of the accounts of the partnership before liquidation. So we have here cash of 5,000, other assets of 155, liabilities of 40, and then their respective capital balances of 30, 40, and 50,000 respectively. And take note that the partners' profit and loss ratio is equal. So they will be sharing profit and loss ratio into one-third respectively. Now, let us record the realization of the first batch of non-cash assets. So the first batch is katong 80,000 which was realized on July with a total amount of 65,000. So we have here 80,000. So that means, since again, the concept of installment, 'di ba? Unlike dito kay lump sum, sa lump sum, ang pagbaligya sa non-cash asset is one time, meaning 155 dayon ang gibaligya. But diri sa installment basis, staggered ang pagbaligya sa 155,000. So on July daw, 80,000 of the 155,000 non-cash assets were realized for 65,000, giving a loss of how much? Giving a loss of 15,000 to the partners. So that 15,000 loss to the partners will be distributed to the capital balances equally. So 15,000 divide 3, so each of the partner will receive a loss of 5,000. So this is not 50,000 but 5,000. So their capital balances will be reduced by 5,000. So after that, after the realization of the non-cash asset, the next step in the liquidation process is the payment of the external liabilities. So we have here total balance of our cash is 70,000, and then we have a total liabilities of 40. So upon payment sa ato ang liabilities na 40,000, we already have a remaining cash of 30,000. And then napatay other assets nga 75. Ang ilahang capital balances of 25, 35, and 45. So, at this time, we already have a cash of 30,000. But the problem is, how are we going to distribute these 30,000 to the partners? So we will be distributing 30,000 to the partners this time through the use of cash safe payment. So that cash safe payment will help us determine who on choosing or on determining the partners who will be receiving a part or a portion of that 30,000. So with the use of the cash safe payments, so let us prepare for the cash safe payment for the month of July. So here, in determining your cash safe payment, to determine how the available cash of 30,000 is to be distributed to the partners, a schedule of safe payment is to be prepared. The calculation of the safe payment requires the following steps. So the first step includes determine the total interest of each partner. So in determining the total interest of the partner, you need to adjust for possible loan balances. So, if ever na ay mga loan balances ang ato ang mga partners, then we properly adjust it to their respective capital. So, in this case, since wala may loan balances ang ato ang mga partners, then automatic ang ilahang total interest will be the same with that of their capital balances. Basta take note na ang first step in preparing cash safe payment is to adjust their capital balances for whatever loan balances they have in the partnership. The next step is to compute for the possible loss of the partnership, which will be absorbed by each partner. So that will be absorbed using their possible, or that will be absorbed using their profit and loss ratio. Okay, take note that we have here the total unsold na mga assets. So, natay remaining 75,000 nga wala nahalin nga mga non-cash assets. So, that again, as mentioned earlier, will be considered as possible loss. And then, if there's any cash withheld for possible payment of liquidating expenses, it will also be added as part of its total possible loss. But in this illustration, we assume that we don't have any cash withheld, meaning pasabot sa cash withheld, gitabi or um, gigahin ng mga cash para pambayad sa liquidation expenses. But this time, we don't have cash withheld for possible liquidation expenses, so therefore, we only have a total possible loss of 75,000. And this 75,000 will be absorbed by the partners using their profit and loss ratio of one-third, one-third, and one-third respectively. So each of them will be absorbing 25,000 from the possible loss of 75,000. So from here, we can now prepare schedule of safe payment. So this is the safe payment for July. So we can now identify who among the partners can receive 30,000 or could share that 30,000. So again, we have interest of the partners of 25, 35, and 45. Again, this is the total interest ha, including possible loan balances of the partners. And then minus their share in the possible loss, which is computed earlier. So we have 25,000 for X, 35,000 for Y, and 45,000 for Z. So after that, we have determined nga si X, zero balance siya, si Y, na siya 10,000, and then Z will have 20,000. So that means, ang 30,000 daw nga available cash after the first um, realization of assets sa partnership, naman ta dito yung nabilin nga 30,000, after the cash, after the liabilities were paid, natay nabilin nga 30,000. So, ang 30,000 daw, ibayad kay Y for 10,000 and Z for 20,000. So, that means, after preparing cash safe payments, na-determine na nato kung kinsa ang modawat sa 30,000. Okay? So, that is only for the month of July. Now, next is the statement of liquidation. So this will now be the statement of liquidation. So updated statement of liquidation. So earlier, natay 30,000 nga balance sa cash. And then naatay balance ato ang other assets nga 75,000 and their respective capital balances. So, ang atong 30,000 na distribute na nato sa mga partners based on the cash safe payment, yung gibuhat nato for the month of July. So, ang 30,000, mawala na, mahurot na tong cash, kay i-distribute na nato ang 10,000 kay Y, and then 20,000 kay Z. So, after July, the capital balances or the balances na of the accounts, cash, zero, other assets na patay na bilin nga 75,000, and then, capital balances na X ni X nga 25, 25 for Y, and 25,000 for Z. So this time, let us prepare for the installment, or let us continue the liquidation for the month of August. So for the month of August daw, natay non-cash assets na ay carrying amount nga 42,000 pero gibaligya lang siya for 24,000. So, that means that the entity again realized a loss. So, this time, a loss of 18,000. And that 18,000 will again be distributed to the partner. So, 6,000 each will be distributed to the partners. So, after the distribution of loss, from that second group of or second na pagpamaligya sa mga assets, non-cash assets of the partnership. So, na tayo cash nga 24,000 and then na lang tayo nabilin nga 33,000 nga other assets and then 19,000 each nga mga capital balances. So, this time, our problem again is how are we going to distribute this 24,000? Kung saan na po nato ni pag-distribute sa 24,000. So, para ma-determine nato kung kinsa ang makadawat sa 24,000, then let us prepare again cash safe payment for the month of August. So, in the month of okay, not August but on May. Kay ang next nga pagpamaligay is on May man. So, wait. Okay, light ito na slide. So here, balik ta. Here. So, on August, again, you will again prepare cash safe payments para ma ma determine mo kung kinsa ang mag mag receive sa cash nga 24,000. But this time, since if you have noticed, the capital balances of the partners are already equal. So since equal naman ang partners capital nila, so we can now use the profit and loss ratio. So it's safe na to use the profit and loss ratio instead of using the cash safe payment. So this time, we will no longer determine the amount of cash that will be distributed to the partners based on cash safe payments, but rather we can now use as a tool in paying our partners based on their profit and loss ratio. Since lang profit and loss ratio is ano naman, equal, so that 24,000 will be distributed to them equally na. So, dili na ta mag-prepare or cash safe payments again kay equal naman ang ilahang capital balances. So, same is applied for the next month in September. So, in September, ang imong 33,000 gibaligya na pud siya for 12,000. So, naatay loss nga for 21,000. That loss of 21,000 is again distributed to the partners. So, they will have 7,000, 7,000, and 7,000 each. So, again, ang 12,000 will be distributed to the partners based on their profit and loss ratio since equal naman ang ilahang capital balances. So after such time nga mahurot na ang imong non-cash assets and ma-zero out na pod ang imong mga capital accounts sa imong mga partners. So this will now be the complete statement of liquidation. Again ha, let me reiterate, you will prepare cash safe payment if the capital balances of the partners are not yet equal. But if their capital balances are already equal, just like on August and on September, in distributing your cash available, you will now use their partners profit and loss ratio. So several important conclusions from that discussion. So the first, the order of payment in the statement of liquidation is in accordance with the order of priority stated in the partnership law. So again, you will pay external creditors, you will pay internal creditors, and lastly, for your capital. Second, the total installment payment to each partner is equal to the amount of single payment computed under the lump sum liquidation method. So again, regardless on which method ang gamiton, whether it's installment liquidation method or lump sum liquidation method, the aggregate amount that can be received by a partner under installment liquidation method will just be the same under lump sum liquidation method. So, if you have noticed, kung gilump sum na to siya pagbaligya, natay total loss nga 54,000. And that 54,000 will be distributed to the partners equally to na sila total payments nga 12,000, 22,000, and 32,000. Kung gilamsam na to siya pag liquidate ang partnership. So, if you have observed, ang na-receive na cash sa mga partners under installment liquidation will also be the same amount nga madawat nila if ever ang lump sum or ang liquidation is under lump sum method. So, in both cases, all of the partners will be receiving equal amount of cash. The journal entries for the liquidation of the partnership. So since we have 3 months man na liquidation from July, August, and September, we'll also have their respective journal entries from July, August, and September. So this one is the journal entry for the month of July. So here na maligya ta og other assets nga 80 for a cash of 65,000. So that is why nagka-loss ta of 15,000 and it will be distributed to the partners equally or one-third, one-third, and one-third. So this was also reflected in the statement of liquidation earlier. Second is the payment of liabilities. So debit liabilities, credit cash 40,000. And then the third journal entry for the month of July is the payment of cash to Y and Z. Earlier, we had prepared cash safe payment on how are we going to distribute the first remaining cash of 30,000. So we have computed it na 10,000 will be given to Y and 20,000 will be given to Z. And then for the month of August, other assets of 42,000 were realized but only for 24,000. And then 6,000, 6,000, and 6,000 will be debited to the capital balances of X, Y, and Z due to that loss. And then, diriya, wala na talagang bayad og liabilities kay after the month of um, July, all of our external liabilities will already paid naman. So, wala na tayo liabilities rin nga kinahanglan bayaran. So, next na lang na activity is the payment of cash to the partners. So, again, since equal naman ang capital balances na to, para sa August, ang 24,000 nga cash is distributed na based on the capital or not on capital but based on the profit and loss ratio of the partnership. So 24 times 1/3 times 1/3 and times 1/3 to all of the partners. And then lastly, pagka September. So pagka September, last batch of non-current assets were sold. So 33 ang carrying amount niya pero 12,000 lang ang ato ang selling price. So therefore, natay 21,000 nga loss. Same, it will be credited to the partner since we have loss. And then last is the final cash settlement sa mga partners nga 12,000. Again, based on their profit and loss ratio. Kay equal naman po ang ilang mga capital balances dira nga month. Okay, so after that, let's proceed to another case. This time, let's consider one more partners or one more partner have insufficient interest to absorb possible loss. The partners of ABE and company share profits and losses as follows. So 50, 20, 30, and 10% respectively. On March 31, 2020, they agree to liquidate their partnership statement of financial position is presented as follows. So, na sila assets, na sila non-cash assets of 80, and then na IB loan nga 2,000 and their respective capital balances. Here's also the schedule of their realization sa ilang non-cash assets. So, naa sila 80,000 nga non-cash assets, 54,000 na baligya pagka April for 30. So, dahil loss nga 24,000 out of its 80,000 nga non-cash assets na baligya pagka May for only 18,000. Therefore, incurring a loss of 6,000. And then, last batch of non-cash assets were realized on June for a carrying amount of 2,000 but realized only for 1,000, incurring again a loss of 1,000. So again, ang ato ang illustration diri is there is someone, there is more than one nga mag-absorb sa possible loss. Okay? So let's continue. We have here the statement of liquidation. So this one is the statement of liquidation as of April 2020 or as of the first month of the liquidation process. So again, we have here the beginning balances based on the balance sheet or the statement of financial position. And then we have the first batch of selling sa ato ang non-cash assets, carrying amount to 54 but only sold for 30,000. So we have here a loss of how much? We have a loss of 24,000. And that loss again will be distributed to the partners using their profit and loss ratio. So after the realization, nanatay total cash of 40, remaining non-cash asset ka 26, we still have a liability of 6 in their respective capital balances. So after the first realization of non-cash assets, our next step in the liquidation process is the payment of liabilities. So magbayad ta sa ato ang mga liabilities worth 6,000. So after the payment of liabilities, guys, nanatay cash nga 34. So our problem this time is how are we going to distribute that 34,000 to the partners. So again, if you have noticed, their capital balances are not equal yet. Okay? not equal yet. So therefore, we will be using the cash safe payment in distributing this 34,000. So we will be preparing cash safe payment to determine who will be receiving that 34,000. So we have here schedule 1. So again, the first step in preparing cash safe payment is to adjust the capital balances. So if ever a partner has a loan, then you need to account it. So among the partners, only B has a receivable sa partnership. So it will be added sa iyang capital interest. So we have total interest of 8,000, 26,200, 18,200, and 7,600. Next step is to distribute the possible loss. So earlier natay possible loss nga 26,000. Asa manigikan ang 26,000 nga possible loss. So that 26,000 nga possible loss, that is coming from the carrying amount of the non-cash assets which was not yet realized up until the first month of liquidation, which is on August. April, sorry, which is on April. So, pagka-April, ang nabaligya pa lang is worth 54. So, naapay nabilin na 26,000 nga non-cash asset. And then, kanang wala nabaligya nga non-cash asset of 26,000 will be considered as a possible loss of the partnership in preparing cash safe payments and then distributed to the partners using their profit and loss ratio. After the possible loss has been distributed, if you have noticed here, na ay partner nga na ay negative balance. So according sa ato ang assumption in preparing schedule of safe payments, ang atong assumption, any partner which has a capital deficiency can no longer contribute money. So therefore, since they are assumed na can no longer contribute money, so kanang loss nila or deficiency nila will be distributed to the partners based on their relative profit and loss ratio. So i-absorb siya sa mga partners. So we have 5,000 times 2 over 5, 2 over 5 para kay C, and 1 over 5 para kay D. So therefore, we can now determine from our remaining cash, 19,000 will go to B, 11,000 will go to C, and 4,000 will go to D. So we already have our data here kung unsaon na to pag-distribute ang 34,000. So again, first is 2,000 para kay loan, 17,000 para kay B. So earlier, 'di ba? Naman tay 19,000 para kay B, 19,000 para kay B. So kanang 19,000, 2,000 para sa loan and then 17,000 para sa iyang capital. So mo follow lang gihapon ta dito sa chronological order niya nga una bayaran ang loan kaysa sa iyang capital. So 2,000 will be applied sa iyang capital, sa iyang loan, and then the remaining 17,000 will be applied sa iyang capital. 11,000 para kay C, and then 4,000 para kay D. After that, if you have noticed, ang atong capital balances are not yet equal. So 8,000, 7,272, and 36 respectively. So therefore, next time pagka May, short ta, if ever na ay available cash, mag-prepare lang gihapon ta og cash safe payments in distributing that available cash kay di man equal ang ato ang capital balances. Okay? So we have here continuation in the liquidation process. So on May, naatay second batch of selling sa atong non-cash assets. Naatay non-cash assets with carrying amount of 24,000, ibaligya nato siya for 18,000, giving us a loss of 6,000. Again, that loss of 6,000 will be distributed to the partners using their profit and loss ratio. So this time, nanatay available cash nga 18. And then, na lang tayo nabili nga non-cash assets of 2,000. But our problem this time is how are we going to distribute these 18,000 to the partners? So, since again, dili pa man equal ang ilang capital balance, then we need to prepare safe payments for the month of May. So, for the month of May, we have there your capital balances na 50, 6, 6, and 3,000 respectively. So, kanang 50,000, 6,000, 6,000, and 3,000 respectively, that is gikan diri guys. Diri na siya gikan sa ilahang capital balances. Okay? Diri na siya gikan sa 5,000, 6,000, and 3,000 respectively. Right? 5,000, 6,000, 6,000, and 3,000 respectively. So, diri siya gikan guys. 6,000, 5,000, 6,000, 6,000, and 3,000 respectively. So, we have here, uh, this is 5,000 lang ha, dili ni 50,000. So, we have their capital balances and then possible loss nga 2,000. So possible loss of 2,000. So 2,000 will be distributed to the partners using their profit and loss ratio. So 1,000, 400, 400, and 200 will be given to each partner respectively. And then, from that, maka-determine na taog cash balances na i-distribute sa ilaha. So 4,000 for A, 5,600 para kay B, 5,600 para kay C, and then 2,800 para kay D. So diri for the month of May, okay, from for the month of May, 3,000 ang padulong kay A, 1,200 ang padulong kay B, and then 1,200 ang padulong kay C, and then we have 600 para kay D. Okay, guys, it seems that there is an error in this statement of liquidation. Huh? So, instead, kulang siya diri og payment of this 18,000. Wala niya gi-distribute diri sa mga partners. So, I will be giving you an updated na statement of liquidation for this specific na case. I will just send it to you on your respective group chats in this specific case. So again, let's move on. So, but the computation here for the month of May is correct. So from that 18,000 of the partnership, so 18,000 will be distributed to 4,000 para kay A, 5,600 para kay B, 5,600 para kay C, and another 2,800 para kay D. So, ano lang, there's a bit of error na nalaktawan or na nalaktawan na item isa ka line wala niya na appeal dito as a liquidation. But again, the updated um, statement of liquidation will be sent on your respective group chat or on the Creeper on your Creeper accounts. So let's continue on case 3. Assuming one or more partners becomes deficient after absorbing additional possible loss. So assume the balance sheet and the data pertaining to the realization of non-cash assets of ABE and company in case 1. The partner share and losses as follows. A shares 60%, B shares 15%, C 10, and D 15%. So the statement of liquidation and the supporting schedule of payments are presented below on the next page. So as a sort of recap here, mo ni ang ato ang figures. So na ay 90,000 nga total assets and then liabs and their equity accounts and their batch of realizing their total non-cash assets of 80,000. So we have here the entire statement of liquidation. So statement of liquidation from April 1 to June 30. So we have here your capital balances, your beginning account balances. So we have 10, non-cash of 80, liabs of 6, B loan of 2,000, A capital of 20,000, B 29,000, C of 23,000, and D with 10,000. So we have here the first installment April, for the month of April. So we have realized 54,000 out of the total as non-cash assets na 80,000. So nagka-loss tayo ng 24,000. So again, that 24,000 will be distributed to the partners using their profit and loss. So we have here the balances after the first na installment of liquidation. So we have 40 nga cash, 26 nga non-cash na bilin, liabs na 6, B-loan nga 2,000, and so on. We also have payment of our liabilities, our second step, 6,000. So, ang nabili na lang sa atong cash is 34. Non-cash assets of 26 and we don't have liabilities anymore. So, we have here 2,000 para kay B loan, 5,600 para kay A, and so on para sa mga partners. So, that is the balances. Now, payment to partners. So, we have here natay available cash of 34,000. Kanang 34,000 will be distributed to the partners using our cash safe payments. So you have here your cash safe payment for the month of April. So again, basta mag-prepare to our cash safe payment, guys. Assumption, all unrealized non-cash assets are considered as possible loss. And then, if ever na ay after the absorption of that possible loss, after kung na ay nag-negative ang capital balance, it's assumed nga dili na siya maka-contribute. So therefore, I assume na to nga i-absorb siya sa uban mga partners. So we have here their capital balances of 5,600, 25,400, 20, and 6,400. So plus 2,000 nga balance na i-adjusted. So, adjust for the possible loss of 26,000 kay ang 26,000 mabaligya pa man daw for the next 2 months. So, that 26,000 will be shared to the partners using their profit and loss ratio. So, they have a balance of this one, 10,000, 23, 18, and then 25. So, again, since negative man kay A, i-assume na to nga i-absorb siya sa mga partners. So, after absorption, na ay 3,750 nga share si B, 2,500 nga share si C, and then 3,750 nga share si D. After the absorption, guys, if you have observed, na si D na pod ang naay negative balance nga 1,250. Siya na pod ang naay capital negative balance nga 1,250. So kanang negative balance nga 1,250 i-absorb na po na siya ni B and ni C. So we have 750 and 500. So that's 1 to 50 times 15 over 25, and then 1 to 50 times 10 over 25 para kay C. So therefore, from the available cash of 24,000, let's go back here from the available cash of 34,000 pala. From the available cash of 34,000, that 34,000 will be distributed to B and C respectively. So since again si B na may loan na 2,000, that 2,000 will be paid first before the capital of 17,000. And then C will be receiving 15,000. So after the first month of liquidation sa April, ang capital balances na lang nato is ang atong non-cash, we have 26,000, and then A, we have 5,600, B still 8,400, and then 5,600 para kay C, and then D para D for 6,400. And then let's move para sa month of May. If you have noticed, guys, nga dito sa balances nato, they still don't have equal capital balances. So therefore, pag abot diri sa May, if ever na na po'y available cash, mag-prepare na pud ta og cash safe payment kay dili pa man equal ang ilahang capital balances. So dili pa nato magamit ang ilahang profit and loss ratio in distributing the available cash kay dili pa man equal ang ilang capital balances. So this time again, to continue, for the month of May, we have 18,000 na cash received from total non-cash assets nga nabaligya for 24,000. So naay nabaligya nga 24,000 nga non-cash assets, and then 18,000 lang ang proceeds. Therefore naay loss nga how much? 6,000. So that 6,000 will be distributed to the partners using their profit and loss ratio. So nanatay 18,000, and na lang tayo nabilin nga 2,000 nga na lang tayo nabilin nga 2,000 nga non-cash assets. So, kanang 18,000 will be distributed again to the partners using their cash safe payment. So, mag-prepare na po tayo cash safe payment for the month of May. So, we have here, for the month of May, second, you have their total interest of 2,000 to 750. 7,500 for B, 5,000 for C, and then 5,500 for D. And then, naatay possible loss na 2,000. So, kanang nabilin nga possible loss na to nga 2,000, mauna tong um, carrying amount sa non-cash assets nga wala pa na maligya as of May. And again, that will be considered as possible loss. So that possible loss will be shared using their profit and loss ratio nga 60, 15, 10, and 15 respectively. So after that, 8, gikan sa 8,000, 800 daw ang madawat ni A, 7,2 ang madawat ni B, 4,8 ang madawat ni C, and then 5,2 ang madawat ni D. So balik ta dito as a statement of liquidation. So we have here 18,000 will be given to A for 800. For B, we have 7,2. For C, we have 4,8. And for D, we have 5,200. So after that, wala na tayo balances. Wala na tayo cash. Then na pa tayo balance na 2,000. And so on. Na tayo capital balances na 1, 2, 300, 200, and 300. So this time, for the month of June, so ang ato ang nabilin remaining 2,000, nabaligya na lang siya for 1,000. So from that, kanang 2,000, ibaligya siya for 1,000, therefore natay loss nga 1,000. So that 1,000 will be distributed again to the partners na 600, 150, 100, and 150 para sa mga partners. So ang 1,000 na to na balance will be distributed na based on their ending capital balances. Okay? Based on their ending capital balances. So, 600 para kay A, 150 para kay B, 100 para kay C, and then 150 para kay D. So, after that, zero na ang atong total assets, zero na ang atong non-cash assets, zero na po ang atong total respective capital accounts. So this is our safe payments for the month of May. Okay, so that would be the end of our first part lecture in partnership liquidation, focusing on installment basis. So watch out for our next video topics. So in our next topic, we will be discussing cash withheld and discussion of the preparation of cash distribution program. So if you have questions and clarifications, you may ask it on our virtual class, during our virtual class, and then I would be very glad to answer those questions. You could also refer to these different resources for your additional readings. And then, previously in our previous video lecture, I have given a question that pertains to the chronological order of the payment of liabilities or the distribution of cash in the lump sum um, lump sum basis of installment. So we only have four participants from that question. So through random pick using wheel of names, our lucky winner for 30 pesos load is um, si Dave Labata. So congratulations for winning 30 pesos load. So that's it for this session of video lecture. See you on our next video lecture. Bye!